to injury and how they going to repair themselves. الموضوع هو شامل لكل الأورجنز and tissues, but today we are going to concentrate on the skin as an example of wound healing process. In the beginning, you should understand that wound healing is a spectrum. It is not a unique, it's not a single event. It's a spectrum of events that range from regeneration to scar formation. There is two ends of this spectrum. Regeneration means the full repair of the body, tissue, and organ in a very similar manner to its original state. And this is a very nice way to repair, and it's a preferable way of repairing tissue and organs, but not all tissues can do that. Hepatic tissue have that ability to regenerate in a very high manner. Bone fractures can regenerate in a very good manner through repairing the bone and reconstructing the bone to its original shape and function. On the other side, scar formation is the usual way of healing in skin examples and neural tissue. If we got a spinal cord injury, it is very difficult that we can return the patient to function normally. Usually, they suffer paraplegia or quadriplegia for life. That is because the neural tissue is unable to regenerate. They are healing by scar formation. And there is a special combination between these two kinds of healing, the scar formation and regeneration, in each kind of tissue. So they will give different ways of it. In regarding skin example, we are going to speak about the skin today, and we have three phases of wound healing in the skin: the inflammatory
دكتور
phase. نعم.
رجع الصوت مو واضح نفس من الساعة.
النت هاي مشاكل النت طلع بشوي النت دا يضعف عندنا ومساحة انقطع وما نقدر
دكتور مو الدكتور ان يمك من تحكي واضح يعني نوعا ما.
صوتي ناصي لحداني؟ صوتي ناصي هسه اوضح؟
هسه اوضح.
نعم هسه اوضح بوين.
هسه
يلا صفانتي تجوز صوتي التون مالته ناصي، راح احلي صوتي حتى تصير واضحه الامور. اسف. زين هسه عندنا ثلاث فيزات 3 phases: inflammatory phase, proliferative phase, and remodeling phase. And these phases are intermingled, they are overlapping, they are not, there is no special cut point between them. So we're not going to find each phase separated from the other. They are running all together in order to complete the process of wound healing. There is a variety of cells involved in the wound healing process. Let's start with the inflammatory phase, and this phase starts with the early beginning of injury to the skin. What happens when the skin is going to injure? If the skin injured, the first thing that will occur is bleeding from the skin. And this point, and this event is the first point of wound healing. And it is very important. As you see, there is a big defect in the skin after wounding. And this defect needs to be filled by a material in order to allow cells to migrate inside and to do their function. So we need a scaffold to fill the defect. And this scaffold is going to be filled by the blood clot. So the blood clot inside our wounds is important for healing. And this blood clot in practice, in our daily life, we should not play with the clot on the wounds. If you understand this point, you should not play with the clot and the blood of your wound. You should leave it in place in order to allow a normal wound healing process. This is a practical point. So the bleeding is the first point and the first thing to happen in wound healing process, and it will form a cut or a clot on the wound. Please don't play with the cut of your wound in order to have a healthy and normal healing process. Okay, this is the first practical point of our lesson. What happens in the inflammatory phase? As we said, the blood will fill the gap between the ends of the tissue of the skin, and as we know, there is fibrinogen inside the plasma of the blood. This fibrinogen, because of the effect of bleeding and clotting, will convert to a fibrin, and this fibrin will polymerize and form a fibrin matrix. This jelly-like material will fill our wound and will stick the ends together and will allow a soft material that filling our wound, allowing the cells to migrate inside in order to do their function. As the injured tissue play an important role because the sides of the wound having living cells that have been injured, they are going to send a chemotactic signals, and these signals will recruit and call for help from the inflammatory cells inside the body. So cells will come through the blood into the wound itself and migrate inside the wound in a scheduled manner. The first cells that don't enter to the wound are the neutrophils, and these cells are important cells as they have a phagocytic property. They can engulf bacteria, destroy bacteria. They can clean the wound and prepare the wound for the healing process. These are the first cells that are going to enter to the wound. The second important cell that is going to enter are the macrophages. The monocytes of the blood will pass and migrate from the capillary into the wound and will form a macrophages. And these macrophages are the most important cells in the whole process of wound healing. Why they are important? Why they are very, very essential for the healing process? That's because they are having two main roles. The first role is to engulf the necrotic tissue and to remove the debris and to kill the bacteria inside the wound. So they are scavengers. They are cleaning cells. They are going to clean the wound, first of all. And the second important thing is they are going to manage the wound healing process in general. They are the managers. They are the controllers. They are the orchestra of this symphony. Okay? So they are very important cells for these roles. They are the managers. They are going to control the whole process of migration of cells and building of the new skin. Other important cells are the lymphocytes. Also, they are important for infection purposes. And the mast cells is going to enter also. The inflammatory phase starts from the time of injury and will be in the end at 4 days after injury. Important thing is that if we got problems in the monocytes or macrophages in the body, if they are absent, if they are malfunctioning, there are going to be a big consequences on the wound healing process. As we should understand the importance of these cells in this whole process. The other phase, important phase, is the proliferative phase, which is the second phase of wound healing. and as its name, there is a lot of proliferation of cells in order to fill the gap between the tissues. The first proliferation occurs in the keratinocyte, the epithelial cell in the surface. These cells is going to separate between each other. It is chromosomal connection between them is going to break, and the cells is going to be free, and these cells are going to proliferate and migrate. The proliferation and migration of these cells will form a sheet-like structure on the top of the wound under the cloth. And this important event will help the wound to have a permanent cover of epithelial cells as this normal skin. As the normal skin is covered by epithelial cells, epithelium, the wound is going to have its own epithelial cover also by this process, by the proliferation and migration of the keratinocytes from the sides of the wound. And that will help to form a sheet of epithelial cells which can proliferate to form a full epithelium covering our wounds. And this process starts from the early beginning of the injury and ends within 24 hours. Okay? You should understand this important thing. The sterilization process does not take a lot of time. It only takes 48 hours. 2 days is enough for a clean surgical wound to sterilize. If you have a clean surgical wound that we have created and we sutured it very well, it not need more than 24 hours to sterilize. And that sterilization will help our wound to be sealed from the environment, so there is no entrance of any fluid, any water, any moisture from the environment to our wound. And that's important again, and have a practical thing. The practical thing behind that what is the time that we can allow our patients to take a shower and to wash their wound. Okay, it's the sterilization process does not need more than 2 days, so we can allow our patients to take a bath and to take a shower early after surgery. Within 3 to 4 days, they can have a shower if the sterilization process ends within 2 days. This is important practical point. Okay. What else in the proliferation phase? There is 2 main elements in the proliferation phase after the sterilization. The proliferation phase is based on granulation tissue formation, and granulation tissue is composed from 2 main things. The collagen deposition from the fibroblast. The fibroblast is going to migrate into our wounds and to start to lay down collagen. The first collagen that they use to put inside our wounds is type 3 collagen. And that is important to allow to fill our wounds with a soft collagen that's suitable for the building process, but not a permanent collagen we need to change it. So the first thing that occurs here is the fibroblast migration and function of laying down collagen fibers, type 3 collagen fibers inside our wound. With that, there is endothelial proliferation and migration and body forming a new vessel inside the wound. And these new vessels are the highways and the roads to carry cells, to carry nutrients, and to carry all the things that needed inside the process of wound healing. So they're going to provide the fast access of cells into all parts of our wound. The combination of capillary body and new vessel formation, plus the collagen lying down, these two things will form what is called the granulation tissue, which is the true filler of the wound in the phase of in the proliferative phase. As we said, there was a fibrin matrix formed from the fibrinogen of the blood in the inflammatory phase. This has been changed in the proliferative phase into stronger tissue, which is a granulation tissue, which contains blood vessels and collagen type 3 from the fibroblast. These two things are important as a filler and a binder to our wound aid. This is regarding the proliferative phase. The important thing is the stop point where we are, where our wound stop laying down the type 3 collagen and stop forming the new vessels. This point is important in the wound process. As we said, we have a cavity called the fibrinogen, and there is a migration of capillaries, and there is a function of fibroblasts to lay down collagen inside these tissues, and there is building and building and building of granulation tissue inside that wound. When the wound is filled with collagen, with a granulation tissue, with collagen and blood vessels, there should be a stop point. There should be a stop point. There should be a stop signal to all these cells to stop that process because the wound is full. And this stop signal is the job of the macrophage. Okay, as you said, the macrophage is the organizer, is the manager and the controller of the wound healing process. So the macrophage, when they feel and see that the wound has been filled with the granulation tissue, that at that point they should give signals to all cells to stop the process. The fibroblasts should stop laying down collagen, and the budding and the endothelial cells function should stop also in forming new vessels. If this process does not occur and the stop signal is missed, whatever the cause, the cause in the macrophage, the cause in other receptors, in other cells, they didn't understand the signal. Whatever the cause, if this signal does not function, there will be abnormal wound healing because the laying down of collagen will not stop, and the budding of the vessels will not stop, and the granulation tissue will increase inside and will push and push and push and push and inflate our wound in order to produce abnormal wound healing that we are going to see examples of them in the end of the session. Okay, so this is what occurs in the inflammatory phase, which starts from 4 days and ends within 21 days. Okay, 3 weeks. The proliferative phase takes 3 weeks. Important phase have revitalization process and granulation tissue formation, and ends with the signal of stop that comes from the macrophage. Okay, and these combination of procedures is a complex thing. We have simplified it in this way. After the proliferative phase, we have the final phase, which is the remodeling phase. As we said, our wound is now full with the granulation tissue, but the normal skin does not have granulation tissue. So we need to change the granulation tissue into what is the normal dermis have. Okay? And that occurs in the remodeling phase. First of all, we should understand that the remodeling phase is a very, very long procedure that starts after 3 weeks from wounding and continue for a long time. up to 1 to 2 years of healing. So, wound healing process in skin may take up to 1 to 2 years. This is important thing to understand. So don't think your wound have healed after a few weeks. It will need to complete the process within 1 to 2 years. As we said, the granulation tissue have filled our wound in the remodeling phase, and this granulation tissue contains type 3 collagen. This collagen is nice as a filler to the wound, but it has a disadvantage of weakness. The shearing forces of that wound is very low. Now, شنو قلت؟ صوت شوش نفس يمكن ضعف.
في صوت خلاص.
بقية الجروبات هم عندهم نفس المشكلة؟ صوت مو واضح؟
هسه شلون الصوت؟ طلابنا
نعم، المشكلة بالنت، النت عندنا يضعف ويقوى يضعف ويقوى، يسوي إشكالات في الموضوع. فيصير بكي على محاضرات أصحابنا نسوي.
نعم.
إيه.
لا ما يتبدلنا بدلت اثنين ولا نحاول جاي نحاول.
اوكي يعني
هم اقروا شوي.
زين يعني فهمتوا شيء من المحاضرة لو الصوت ما خلاكم تفهموا؟
والله ما فهمنا شيء دكتور، كلش مو واضح، يجي دقيقة ورا 5.
على احنا المحاضرة كفويس راح تنزل بالكلاس روم، كفويس لكتشر موجود ان شاء الله بالكلاس روم، ننزل لكم اياها تقدرون تراجعوها على كيف. اوكي؟ موجودة مسجلة وموجودة راح تنزل. اوكي.
قصدك يعني بدون بيت؟
بعد هذا الموضوع ما نقدر نناقشه داخل المحاضرة دكتور حسن.
وصل اصوات.
هاي وصل اصواتكم للعمادة وتناقشوها ويا العمادة، احنا هسه بالمحاضرة ما راح نقدر نناقش في الموضوع. المحاضرة المهم راح تعرفون ان المحاضرة راح تنزل كفويس ليكتشر مع الباوربوينت، تشوفون صوتي وصورتي والباوربوينت نفس الحكي راح ينزل عندكم ان شاء الله بالكلاس روم. اوكي؟ تطمئن. اوكي تمام. خلينا نكمل شغلي، يعني ما الوقت اليوم اخذنا شوي وعندنا حكي بعد مهم نوصل لكم. فنرجع للريموديلنج phase. The remodeling phase, as we said, is a change phase from granulating tissue to the final dermis that the wound healing process will produce after the healing is complete. So the finalization means the change from granulating tissue that contains collagen type 3 into collagen type 1, which is the normal collagen, the strong collagen that holds our dermis. Okay? Our dermis, natural dermis, contain collagen type 1 in very high amounts because it's strong, it can withstand shearing forces, can withstand the pressure, and it's very powerful. Collagen type 3 is a weak one, it's more elastic, and it cannot hold the margins of the skin for a long time. That is important to understand in the practical life. Why? We should understand that our wound before the remodeling phase starts is called collagen type 3, and this is a weak collagen. How it's weak? We can understand that if we know that it has the 20% of the strength of the normal skin. The tensile strength of the wound in the 3-week period the 3 week time, 21 days, only having 20% of its strength. Okay? How we can understand that very well. If we take a piece of skin and we apply a pressure on it, the point of the pressure when the wound is going to break down is called the tensile strength of the skin. Okay? If we take a normal piece of skin and we apply pressure on it, and there is a point the skin will break down. And this point is called the tensile strength of the skin. If we have a wound and it is in the healing process, and after 21 days, that wound can withstand only 20% of the tensile strength of the normal skin. You understand this point? So it's very weak at this point. 21 days is very weak wound at that time. If we end the process of wound healing and we change all the collagen type 3 into type 1, we are going to have a 70% of the tensile strength of the normal skin. Why is that? Why we didn't return to the normal tensile strength of the skin after ending of the healing process? The answer is from the beginning of the lecture that our wound healing was in the form of scar formation and not regeneration. If it is regeneration, we can withstand 100% tensile strength of the wound. But because it is a scar formation, we have only 70% strength regained from our normal skin. Okay? You understand this point? We return to the 20% tensile strength. At 2 weeks, our wound is weak. And practically, in that time, there is no stitches left on it because we are going to remove our stitches within 1 to 2 weeks from repairing it. So we are going to leave our wound weak, vulnerable to damage, vulnerable to be reopened if we don't support it. And how we can do that support, we are going to discuss this point in detail in the next lecture of how we are going to obtain a fine scar. That is in the way of suturing of our wound. Okay, this is the point to be discussed later in the next lecture. So, the changes that occur in the remodeling phase is the collagen remodeling, as we discussed in detail now. Type 3 converted to type 1, moving the tensile strength up and up and up and up to 70% at the end of the first 1 to 2 years. The other thing that occurs in the remodeling phase is the length of the wound don't change by the process of wound contraction. And that occurs by the help of myofibroblasts. There is a special fibroblast inside our wounds that have a muscle-like function. And these myofibroblasts is going to shorten their length in order to shorten the length of our wound. And in the end of the remodeling phase, we are going to have our wounds shorter by about 10% of their original length. And this point is very important practically also. And how can we understand this importance? Anyone can tell me if our wounds is going to be shorter by 10%, how that is going to affect our patient? Can anyone answer this question? If we have our wounds in the remodeling phase going to be shorter by the process of myofibroblast contraction, the wound will be shorter and about 10% of its length after 1 year. how that will impact our patient, how that will impact our work, how that will change our decisions. Can anyone help me in this point? Can anyone answer this question? If our wound is going to be broken up in 10%, what's going to happen? Anyone have an idea? If we have a wound crossing a joint, like a wound in the elbow joint, in the flexor surface of the elbow joint, and this wound is crossing the joint crease, and it's going to be shorter after 1 year by 10%. That wound, for sure, is going to affect the joint mobility. And this wound contraction will have a detrimental effect on our joints. If our wounds crossing joints, they are going to affect the mobility of these joints, and there will be a limitation of motion at those joints, and that will have a detrimental, very bad effect on our face. So when we decide to put wounds on joints, we should not cross them in a vertical manner, and instead of that, we should pass in a horizontal manner in order not to have the shortening effect. And we'll discuss that in detail in the next slide. These two important things going to have in the remodeling phase, the wound contraction and the collagen remodeling process. In the previous year, I have asked my students a question, and it was a true-false question. As reepithelialization progresses rapidly in wound healing, the patient can take a shower after 21 days after surgery. One of the students answered this question, and he told me false statement. Why? As the wound healing process takes 1 to 2 years, the patient should not shower for that period, and will end with this guy and this girl asking you when he's going to have a shower. Please, your patient can have a shower within 3 to 4 days after surgery, because the reepithelialization will not take more than 24 to 48 hours. And it's important to be remembered. There is a lot of factors that can affect wound healing, like age, infection, foreign body, nutritional status, important, comorbidities, diabetes, uremia, jaundice, steroids, cancers, irradiation, and cancer management by chemotherapy, congenital problems like Ehlers-Danlos, which affect the collagen formation, collagen type 1 formation, can affect the wound healing process, and a lot of things that we, like tobacco, alcohol, edema, and pressure, have effect on our wound healing process. These are examples of an abnormal wound healing. It's a hypertrophic scar. As we said, if the stop point does not occur, the microphase is not functioning, and there is no stop in the process of proliferation and granulation tissue formation, there will be inflation. There will be increase in the size of the wound and formation of abnormal wound. This is the first example, which is a hypertrophic scarring. The other example is a keloid scarring. You see that a simple surgical wound can inflate to such a large size. There is a spread of the wound to the margin, and there is elevation and redness and a lot of problems. You can see here, a huge keloid on his neck after doing surgery. on the neck after trauma. Also surgery on the Achilles tendon for this child, and there is a huge inflation of the wound by the healing process. All of these pictures are abnormal wound healing process. There is two kinds of abnormal wound healing processes. We have a hypertrophic and keloid scar. What's the difference between them? Hypertrophic occurs before 6 months and they disappear continuously after 6 months. Anything at any abnormal wound healing process that continue after 6 months, they are considered as a keloid scar. In hypertrophic, as the first picture of the child with the left scar, it was a hypertrophic. It was limited to the wound. But the other pictures, that huge inflation of the wound, are keloid. Why? Because they have extended beyond the wound margin. Hypertrophic, as we said, resolves continuously before 6 months, but keloid will not resolve continuously and it's a permanent problem. Hypertrophic can occur by some abnormalities in the wound healing process, and everyone can have it. But keloid is more hereditary, and it is a genetic problem that is embedded inside our genetics and runs in family. Hypertrophic scar have contracture, wound contracture can occur in hypertrophic scar, but keloid, there is no wound contracture because the wound is known to inflame very widely. عليكم السلام ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم، ورحب بالسيد رئيس الجامعة ويانا اليوم السيد عميد كلية الطب والمساعدين رئيس الجامعة الحمادي إن شاء الله يمنا هنا في المحاضرة. الحقيقة تشرف فيك دكتور ساعدني أنا هنا. حقيقة شوية اليوم عندنا اشتراك بالنت والصوت أي طلب شوية. كنت فكرين اللي صار عندي مشكلة بالتشينج.